In this video, we're going to take this super lightweight little 1/24 scale truck and make it loads heavier by adding a bunch of brass. Stay tuned. Hi there folks, and welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be another video on the SCX24. This one is obviously specifically the C10 Chevy that I have, but this is probably applicable to all of the SCX24 range. This is quite a lightweight truck. The centre of gravity, even on this sort of pickup body, is still quite high, and it definitely benefits from having a little bit of weight in the axle. Now technically I've already added some weight with the wheels and tyres that I've put on there, but there's not a huge amount of weight really, and it could definitely benefit from some more, I think. So what I'm going to look at are two items. One is brass diff covers. So the front diffs currently are plastic, as you would expect really, the whole axle really is plastic, but we are going to replace those, straight swap with some brass items. These I've gone with the ones from Samix, RC Samix. You could go for there's Racing, Trial, Hot Racing, there's a few brands. I quite like the Samix brands. I've had a few of their bits and pieces on some other trucks, and you know, it's pretty good. And I also like the kind of black and brass look that these come with, rather than just the pure brass. There's a few of the others that do black as well. So I've got two of those. And I'm also going to add these black and brass Samix steering knuckles. So again, these are going into the front axle only in this case, obviously, because they're steering axles and it's not four-wheel steer, and that will just give that extra little bit of front weight bias. So as you'll see along the way, I have made a couple of other small changes to this truck. One is to improve the steering, so I'll cover that in another video, but I have installed an Emax ESC and some aluminium steering links, and that has taken out the slop in the steering tremendously. That's done a really good job. These were super cheap. They came from Amazon again. I think they're about £8 or something like that. So, all right, you don't get a lot for your money, but that's a huge improvement. And the Emax steering servo, the servo that comes with it is pretty weak, I think. Some people wait until it dies and then replace it, but I just thought I might as well replace it anyway. I already had that from one of the FPV wings that I fly. And the other thing I've done to try and sort of change the weight balance and get that weight a little bit lower is I have added or installed a low CG battery tray. So this is a 3D printed item. It's actually the one that Josh from Harley Designs did in his SCX24 budget build off. And it works really well, and the really nice thing about it is it now lets me use these GMB 450 milliamp hour batteries that I have from some of my smaller drones. I have had to make up a small battery adapter because I still want to be able to use the original battery from time to time, but that works really nicely. So the first thing I'm going to do, just to make the general job of working on this thing a bit easier, is to just take the body off altogether. So that's two little screws in the back. The hinge mechanism's great for quick jobs, but you know, if you've got to get in there and really get around some of those small components, it's just as easy just to quickly undo the screws and take that off. One thing I should probably mention, if you are going to buy one of these and you're going to work on it a little bit, I would definitely recommend getting one of these 1.3mm hex drivers. You see a lot on the Facebook groups and some of the online groups about this being an 0.050 inch imperial screw, but I haven't had any problems so far using this 1.3 hex. So again, I got that from Amazon. It's a Vera, because I think they're German, branded hex driver. It's a lovely little hex driver actually, really nice, dead simple. It was only a few pounds, so I'll put a link in the description to that. Definitely pick one of those up. It does come with a hex driver in the kit when you buy this, but it is an Allen key style, and unless you're going to print a handle for it and mess about with that, which I'm surprised I didn't do actually, because I normally print everything. These are just great, so much more convenient. Right, so we will start with the easy one, which is the rear diff cover. So I'm doing this left-handed so I can use the other camera, but hopefully we won't break anything in the process. So there are 6 screws that hold on the diff cover, and once that's off, it's just a case of extracting the bearing carefully from the existing diff cover, putting that into the new one. So that's the plastic diff cover, and that's the brass one that looks super cool. Really looking forward to getting that on there. It looks really nice. Just gently teasing that bearing out. And that's machined to a really nice tolerance. That bearing just drops straight in there. And then that's just a case of popping that straight back on and then putting those 6 screws back into place. Now what I'm going to do here is do this in an alternating pattern to try and make sure that this clamps down nice and square. There we go, and that's the brass one, the rear one fitted already. Looks cool, I like that. So I'm going to have a go at doing the front one without taking the steering stuff off, although I am going to have to take the steering stuff off anyway actually to do the knuckles, so I might just do that anyway. Now I don't know what other people's experiences are of these RC 4-wheel drive wheels. Like I say, the tolerance on the hex on the inside of the hub is super tight, to the point now where I can't actually get the hex adapters out of the inside of the wheel, which is a little bit annoying, so the whole thing comes off every time. So I have to be really careful not to lose those pins. Okay, so obviously we have, these are identical, front and back, so both the same. We've also got the steering knuckles to fit, and these look super nice as well. So obviously these are handed, there's a left and right hand side, and again we're going to need to take the bearings out of the plastic, put them into there, and then we have these minute, which I'm almost certain to lose, brass collars. One thing I have found that is great for working on is these felt mats. This is actually a desk mat. It's designed obviously for, you know, your super posh gaming desk setups. I bought it, obviously I work at home quite a lot now since the pandemic started, so I've been slowly upgrading my desk back there, and I bought this felt mat. It was only a cheap one, but it's really nice, and it's actually great to work on for these little things, because when you drop these little bits and pieces, they don't ping off all over the place like they would on a hard desk. So handy little tip. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. Right, so let's take the steering apart first of all. Obviously, the thing to remember with the front is that these top 2 screws also hold on the servo mount. They are slightly longer, so I'm keeping those separate. Again, just gently prise the bearing out. Try not to damage the inside of it as you go along. Again, just slot that in. Fits in nice and snugly, and refit. And this time I'm going to do the 2 top ones first, because I don't want that servo moving if I can help it. It's already too late, that servo mount has moved. better. So normally that wouldn't be such a problem, but I've got a 3D printed servo mount in there for that Emax servo. If you're still on the stock servos, you won't have any issues there. So already starting to feel a nice weight difference there. These Samix diff covers are 9 grams each. I think these original ones, the AXIAL plastic ones, they've got to be less than a gram each. I don't think I have scales that will measure those. I'll try them on the kitchen scales, but so I think we're talking about a sort of 18 gram addition there, which on something that weighs about 240 grams straight out the box is a decent amount of weight for fairly little effort. So now I'm going to just fit these steering knuckles, and that should give us a little bit more weight. I don't know what they weigh, I'll check online. So there are 2 bearings to take into account here, an internal and an external. Which I'm hoping will come out nice and easily. Okay, so poke that through. In case you're wondering, I'm just using an awl from my woodworking stuff. So press the external bearing in, and then we can just push. Can we push through? We can. Minding your fingers. Put the internal one in. They look to be the same size bearings to me, so I don't suppose it really matters if you mix them up, but hey, we'll get them in the right place. So I'll put the stub axle back on, dog bone like that, pop this over so it's roughly in place. And then what I'm going to do is put the little brass collar onto the screw and insert it. And that worked beautifully for such fiddly little items and such sausage shaped fingers. So just check that you've still got nice free steering. You know, even with the upgraded servos, they're not super strong, and the last thing you want is any kind of unnecessary resistance in your steering there. So that's one side. Other side's exactly the same, and the opposite. And then we'll just reattach the steering links. And then we have our reassembled front end. So we've got our nice steering knuckles, brass diff cover, and of course we've got the aluminium steering links, which, like I say, we'll talk about another day. The reason I'm going to talk about those another day is I have an aluminium servo mount and aluminium servo horn coming as well, so I'll talk about all of those together as one piece. Okay, so carefully pop the wheels back on. And there we go, we're all done. I can definitely feel the weight difference in the truck now. It feels a lot heavier lower down. Feels like it's going to be a lot more planted. So the first thing we need to do is get it out and test it. So I'll get onto that and then we'll come back and see what we think. So I've had some new fencing put in recently, and the guy that's done the work has kind of accidentally built me this fantastic little crawler course down the side of the fence. So this is what I'm going to use just to demonstrate the differences here. Now, I haven't got any real footage of this before I did any upgrades, but I can absolutely assure you that there's no way the stock one would have got across some of these obstacles. The extra weight and in the axles made a huge difference here. It feels a lot more planted. It's kind of not flipping over where it would previously have flipped over. That extra weight is keeping the wheels down. I'm not sure whether it's really adding a huge amount of grip and climbing performance. When I've done a couple of tests on kind of flat boards in the garage, it's definitely better, but it's still not quite where I would have wanted it to be. But actually out on trails and out on rocks, it's really good fun now. There's not a lot that it can't get over. You do have to pick your lines very carefully at times, but actually it's been able to get over pretty much everything I've thrown at it so far. So that's going to pretty much do it for this video. We'll leave this running footage playing out. If you enjoyed the content and you found it useful, or you want to stick around for some more videos about the SCX24 or other crawlers that I've got coming up, please don't forget to hit the like button, because that really helps the channel and gets the video out there to more people. And if you're not subscribed already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well and that notification bell. Next video on the SCX24 is going to be about the steering and how we've upgraded that, and then there's going to be another one on the light setup that I'm using, the little sort of custom wiring loop that I've done for the lights. So if you want to see any of those, come back next time, and in the meantime we'll see you on the next one.